Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 82. My name is Rico. I'm here with my co-host,
Dane Cody.
We get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, and whatever the hell we like. So, welcome, episode 82.
Getting to be old men now.
Yeah, we are. 82 years old. We're past retirement and about to kick the bucket.
What? I plan on living to be 100, man.
Yeah.
82. Prime of my life. Got another 20 years to go.
82 is the new 20 or new 30s.
Prime retirement age right there.
I hope to be retired a lot sooner than 82.
So do I. I'm just saying, 20 years into retirement at 82.
That'd be pimping. Yeah, I guess people are living a lot longer, so you gotta make some plans for that retirement.
Yeah.
Especially when you're almost living as long as your entire work life.
There you go, right?
Anyway, back on track. Thanks for listening, everybody. We enjoy having you here every week as we geek out and talk about video games, TVs, toys, gadgets, and whatever the hell we like. Usually we start the show with what you've been playing, get into some news, and then our free-for-all section. And quite often not quite often, pretty much every episode we open up, even before what you've been playing, with our DD section, the designated drinking section.
Oh, yes.
And we swing back to Dane, because this is his special section.
It's near and dear to my heart.
Well, you're the alcoholic, and I'm a cheap drunk.
Thanks a lot. Tonight, I am drinking some Glenmorangie Scotch, the Nectaris, which is phenomenal.
It sounds yummy. Is it like got oranges in it or something?
It is a little amber in color. It's super yummy.
Nectaris. I don't know why it makes me think of oranges.
It makes me think of sweet, sweet Scotch nectar. On the weekend, last weekend, I was drinking some amazing scotches at a Scotch bar in Vancouver. And that was an experience and a half, let me tell you.
What is that? Is that like that's not like a tasting thing kind of, is it? No.
No, it was a whiskey kitchen. It had they had over 750 different kinds of whiskeys.
Jesus. That's like a coma.
It was incredible. They were a member of the Scotch Whisky Society of Canada, and they have a giant book full of all of these whiskeys. And what the Scotch Whisky Society of Canada does is they go to various whiskey manufacturers around the world and they purchase casks of their whiskey and they hang on to it, and then they decide when and how they want to mix and bottle it for however they feel that they want the whiskey to taste. So you don't know where the whiskeys are from. All you get is a name of whatever the whiskey is, the batch or a number. Each whiskey has a number attached to it. And then you get a flavor palette, and it tells you how old they are, when they were bottled, how many there was in the batch, etc., etc. And I had some whiskey that was bottled in 1984, and it was so good.
That sounds like it's like literally like limited edition whiskeys.
Absolutely. That's exactly what this is.
Because you're like never going to get that again. Because when
Probably
it's gone,
not.
It's gone.
Exactly. They only made, the one that I had, they had bottled I believe they said 400 bottles. And that was in 1984. So, and at that point, it was a 27-year whiskey when they bottled it. So
how does this place work? Is it just like shots? Or I don't know, you buy one drink out of the menu and you get like an ounce, or is that how
you get it's a
you don't mix
shot.
it with anything. It's all straight, right?
Yep. They bring you a little They bring you a little thing of water, because the thing is that's the big thing here is their cask strength. So normally when they bottle whiskey, what happens is these big whiskey manufacturers, they let the whiskey sit in the barrel and it ages and it gets full of flavor and everything else. Then what they do is they generally, a lot of times, they filter it and actually add water to dilute it to a certain strength. Mm-hmm. So that every bottle is 46% or 47% or 42%.
And has
or whatever it is.
Their flavor that you expect.
Exactly. So all of the whiskeys for the Scotch Whisky Society are bottled keg strength, straight out of the keg, no watering down whatsoever.
So you need a little water chaser, or you mix it with the water?
I drank mine full strength, 53%. It was fantastic. They do bring out a little thing with water with a little straw, and if you want, you can add a couple drops of water to just pull flavors out. Because sometimes whiskey, when you add a little bit of water, it can really change the flavor of the whole drink just by adding that little bit of water.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed a several sips straight, and then I added just a couple drops to the last little bit just to see the flavors change. But man, was that ever an experience. I will definitely be going back there.
So it's like when the ice melts in your McDonald's Coke and totally wrecks it?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
So that's been your whiskey section.
Yeah.
Whiskey's podcast.
If anybody that listens to in Vancouver, that was a place called Fret's Whiskey Kitchen on Commercial that I was at.
Is that expensive?
I had the one whiskey that I had with dinner. Well, actually, after dinner, I waited till after dinner.
So they have food there. Then it's not.
It's a restaurant.
I guess they have to serve food. Legally.
You can go there and have food. Like, they make quite delicious food. I had the fried chicken. It was amazing. But the big thing, obviously, is they're known for their whiskeys from around the world, as well as their Scotch Whisky Society whiskeys. So they have tons of different whiskeys that you would normally have a hard time finding just in general. Scotches, Irish whiskeys, Japanese whiskeys, Canadian whiskeys, bourbons, you name it. They pretty much have it there. It was pretty incredible. And then on top of that, they also have the Scotch Whisky Society whiskeys, which are obviously, I felt like while I was there that it was, the impact for me was in enjoying some of these whiskeys that I will probably never be able to have again. Just because that's kind of the
Once
idea.
They're gone,
for me.
They're gone.
Exactly. But yeah, it's not cheap. I'm not going to lie. The shot that I had, I think was $40, which isn't bad. Some of them went upwards. I think the most expensive one that I saw was $150. And that was on a 40, I believe it was a 40-year whiskey though.
I'm too cheap. I just want to buy a whole bottle for that much.
So,
but
it was cool.
It's a whole experience.
Oh yeah, and there was lots of other stuff. They ranged all the way from under $10 for a shot all the way up to $150 and everything in between.
Yeah.
Some were 20, some were 30, 40, 50, you know. They were all in there. So there was a good range of prices and stuff. So it wasn't just, it didn't feel like you just had to go there and blow a bunch of money. So yeah, it was cool.
I can't remember I'm trying to think what I did this past week, and like gaming wise or anything, but man, I don't think I really played a lot of games. I went down this rabbit hole, and I guess I could talk about it later in our free for all section. But you know, with Pokemon Sun and Moon coming out soon,
right? I
borrowed some of the older games off one of my buddies, like Pokemon. Actually, borrowed them off of Ryan. You know Ryan, friend of the show.
Absolutely.
And I borrowed like Pokemon Black and Soul Silver and Diamond and Pearl. He has like every version.
Oh, wow.
But so on 3DS, you can transfer Pokemon. There's an app. But the farthest back you can go is Black, Pokemon Black and White.
Oh, okay.
You could use the Poke Transfer app that's on 3DS.
Right.
And it basically just pulls Pokemon out of the game, and then you can transfer them into X and Y or Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby.
Right.
Via the Poke Bank app, where you can basically store all your Pokemon from all, eventually. And then transfer them over to Sun and Moon, which isn't supported going to be right at launch. It's going to be like January, they said.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be a bit of a delayed...
Yeah, probably because they want you to
add-in.
just play with the new Pokemon instead of just transferring over your super strong or buffed up ones.
Right.
So
that makes
I was
sense.
like, he's like, yeah, have at her, just transfer whatever Pokemon you want. He's like, I don't care. I've got all my favorite Pokemon in this other game, which I will not lend you. Like his IV trained, EV trained.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like this is like rabbit hole Pokemon stuff. If you play competitive, him and our friend Tyler used to play weekly, and they would have rules where you have to use specific Pokemon. You can't use the same teams or even the same Pokemon if you've ever used them before. So they would come up with really wacky combinations and stuff to try and like stump or screw the other guy over, because depending on what party you built, you might not be able to deal with a certain one. And they played with really non-standard characters, and they, like I said, they would full EV and IV train them. And
Okay.
what that is, if you don't know what that is, and I don't even really know what it is, so I'm probably going to explain it wrong. All Pokemon have hidden like stat values for like special attack, defense, health, and defense, and I don't even think I'm even saying those right. And you can boost them by like these invisible values.
Right. I've heard about this before, where
and
the
they
super hardcore Pokemon nerds get into...
Yeah, like if you fight a certain type of Pokemon over and over again with, say, you're using your Pikachu,
Right.
you could like buff his defense stat with that hidden stat.
Interesting.
Something like that. It's super meta and it's super in depth. They even actually apparently have it in Pokemon Go.
Yes, I remember going to several websites that were talking about it for Pokemon Go when I was just looking for other things.
So it's really
interesting.
ridiculous. So anyway,
Going down this rabbit hole.
So no, not that rabbit hole, but I'm just explaining why he wouldn't let me the one certain game. But he gave me all these other games. Like, I don't care. You can steal all the Pokemon that are there.
Okay.
So he didn't have many on his Black. It looked like he had raided it and just left some decent ones. And I've played all these games, and I made the mistake at some point when I went from DS to 3DS. I traded all my old Pokemon games because they were worth tons, right?
Right.
They're the most valuable games, and basically, I think at that point I traded a few of them and almost got my 3DS for free, or like a pretty big discount, because I think unusually they're buying them for like $25 a piece, which is quite a bit for a game you paid $40 for.
Right.
Because they're just hard to get, and now they're super hard to get, and they're very expensive. Like Soul Silver and Heart Gold, like go for like $100.
Whoa.
Plus or minus. Yeah, because they're not in print. They don't make them anymore. Anyway, I transferred over some of his Pokemon. He's got some other good ones on the other game, but I would have to trade from one to the other. But I don't have two 3DSs. Well, I didn't have two 3DSs when this started. So now I have two 3DSs. And then I'm like, oh my god, this takes too long. This is ridiculous. And I'm like, and I found online that you could like save hack Pokemon.
Okay.
So you could alter the save and unlock Pokemon in the old version and then transfer them to the new one. And I was like, geez. Oh, cool. And then I started going down that, and I'm like, oh, that's really hard. Oh, and then it's like, oh, you can mod the 3DS and put Homebrew and install games on your 3DS. And I'm like, what? Are you serious?
There's a huge 3DS modding / hacking scene.
I didn't even know that existed. it was like oblivious to me. It's been around forever, using like browser exploits and dumping your system's NAND files and all this nonsense, downgrading, installing an exploit and then upgrading and putting in backdoors and injecting shit. So I went down this huge rabbit hole, bought a 3DS from my niece who never used it. I like made her an offer. I got in trouble from my wife. She's like, she's a kid. You should give her more. I'm like, God damn it. I still got a really good deal, like killer deal on it. So yeah, I modded an old 3DS. I didn't want to wreck my new 3DS because it's like limited edition Zelda one. And I didn't want a chance bricking it.
Of course.
But yeah, it's cool. They've got like all kinds of homebrew, like custom theme stuff you can do. The really neat feature is that you can essentially rip your cartridges to the SD card.
Oh, that's nice. So you don't have to pack around all the cartridges.
So for me, that's awesome because I have like 18 or 20 plus 3DS games on cartridges, and they're so I don't want to lose them because they are pretty easy to lose. They're small. And I've been buying more stuff lately on the eShop, but the problem with buying the games digitally, you don't get the box. I really like having the boxes to display games for my collections. So it kind of solves that. So I can buy the games retail and just install them now, which is awesome.
I wonder if is there ways though that newer games are looking for these types of exploits and things to make sure that people aren't screwing them over? Because I mean, historically, Nintendo's been very, very hardcore about anti-piracy on their systems.
That's the slippery slope here, right? Like you could be a douchebag and borrow all your friends' games and rip them, right? Or you can be like, I own this game; it's on the shelf and I have it installed, right?
Right.
I'm not using it for pirating.
No, I realize that. I'm saying
you can, and it's totally new game. 3DS does the PlayStation thing where stability updates in quotation marks, where they close these loopholes.
Right.
But apparently, once you inject, like if you're on a certain firmware, and even on the newest firmware 3DS, you can downgrade and inject the exploits. It gets into the system memory before the other stuff loads, and obviously I don't know all the technical freaking terms.
So it's a rootkit.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a rootkit, but
that's what rootkits do. Is they inject the code before the system loads.
Yeah, and it's like there permanently, and like even if you were to update, like I've updated that 3DS since I did all that stuff. It's on the newest firmware. Right. The eShop works. All the online stuff works. Like,
yeah, it's totally a rootkit. So
anyway, it's pretty cool. So I went down that rabbit hole and came out the other end. I still haven't hacked Pokemon, but it's pretty neat. I don't know. So now I have a legit, and then I have a homebrew system. And there's this amazing guide. The community is insane because I got to a certain point where it black screened. And sorry, this should have been in free for all, so we've totally like out of order here, but whatever. They have like a IRC channel and a Discord channel.
Yep.
Which is, I don't know, it's pretty much like IRC. So I got stuck at a certain point where my 3DS booted to a black screen. Boo. And I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, shit.
Did you just brick it?
I just bricked it. And I'm like, no, I could turn it off and I could still boot into, what do they call it? Shit, what's the name of it? There's like 3 different buttons on the system, which loads you into certain different apps that like essentially are like DOS prompts almost, like where you have to do stuff out of the system.
Huh.
Can't remember. The Hourglass is one of them. And the other one, what's the other one? Oh, I can't remember the other one. Anyway, I could turn it off and I could boot into that. It just wouldn't boot up the home menu. So I'm not bricked. I can restart and I can get in there, and I'm past the point where I've backed up my NAND, as they call it, whatever that fucking means. And I went on this Discord chat and was like, hey, I've got a black screen and I'm stuck at this point. And he's like, what version did you start from? And I'm like, 7.2. And he just like, boop, pasted like, this is like instantly. He's like, yeah, just do this. And I'm like, okay. And it was just like a missing section of the guide that missed a step if you were on a certain firmware.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Thing. So I just did this other thing, and then boom, it was like, oh, this back going, do a bunch of other stuff, copying files. So like the whole time, you start it all with a browser exploit. You put these files on your SD card.
Right.
And this browser exploit launches the payload. And basically you downgrade your firmware on the 3DS down to an even older version that has like an even bigger exploit that allows them to get at the core per se. I don't know what the fuck you call it. And it's just a bunch of like installing stuff, taking the SD card out, copying new files, putting it back in, running another exploit, it installing itself, you popping the card, getting files that are specific to your 3DS's like serial number and stuff and creating this new shit and blah, blah, blah. And
oh, wow.
Probably took 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, geez. You really went down the rabbit hole.
Well, it took a while because I had to like double, triple check everything, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. You don't want to screw it up.
And like they're like said that this, follow this guide. If you read and triple check stuff, double, triple check stuff, chances are that you're going to have a brick is very slim. Like,
right.
This guide is the be all end all guide. And yeah, it worked out and it's pretty sweet. And that's what I did. Well, then I installed a microwave.
A microwave?
Yeah, stupid fucking microwave.
You mean like you put food in it and it heats it up microwave?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did I tell this story on the podcast?
I don't think so, because this
Have
is
I
new to
ever
me.
talked about my microwave?
No.
Okay. I'm going to go on a short rant here. Sorry. This is
I'm curious now. A microwave story.
This is not video game related. But in my kitchen, I had, and I still have, I had a built-in microwave with a trim kit.
Right.
So imagine fancy kitchen where the microwave looks like it's in the wall with a nice metal trim kit and it's like all flush with the cabinetry.
Right, yeah.
So it's not just a microwave sitting on a shelf or in like a big hole, like a microwave shelf that some kitchens have.
Yeah, it sounds like how ours is. Ours is integrated above the
yours is
above the
oven. Is above the oven. Yeah.
So it's part of the range almost.
Yeah.
The hood anyways.
Mm-hmm. That's a little different, but that's kind of
it's a similar idea, right?
So our microwave was in the cabinetry with the metal trim kit. Looks really cool.
Right.
So it's 4 years old. It fucking dies.
Wow.
Sorry for a lack of better language. Yeah, it dies. So what do? I call around everywhere in town. No, we don't service that. No, we don't have the parts. No, I can't get the parts. No, I don't service that. Yeah, I could fix it, but it'll probably be about like $400 or $500. You're better off buying a new microwave.
Out of curiosity, what kind of microwave was the one that died?
It was a Kenmore Elite series, it's basically it was LG.
Oh, okay.
So the one guy who worked for LG and said he could fix it was like, $400 or $500. I'm like, really? Like, that's bullshit. So I kind of like looked around and was doing some research and trying to see if I could find the parts myself. Impossible.
Right.
They won't sell you the parts because I'm not an
because you're not an authorized
official
service provider.
Yeah, it's fucking horseshit. So I tried going to eBay and all this stuff because I'm like, I want to fix this thing. This thing should only cost me $100 to fix. Like, I don't want to throw this. The thing I think cost me $600 or $700 when we bought it. It's a fancy microwave.
Right. It was obviously out of warranty, I assume.
Oh yeah, out of warranty, 4 years old.
Right. Okay.
And I just didn't want to throw it away. Like, it's such a fucking throwaway culture we have now. Like, the attitude I got from everyone I called around town just pissed me off. Plus, the stupid fucking microwave pissed me off. Because it's custom for the hole and the trim kit. And you think you can find a microwave that we're at? No, it's just for that one frickin' microwave. And then they don't even make that. I couldn't even find the microwave used anywhere, let alone even just buy a new one of it, because it was discontinued like a year after it was made. They just
Wow.
upgrade them for the sake of upgrading them. Like, what the
Of course.
fucking microwave technology's barely changed. Like, really? There's no fucking reason. Ugh, I'm so angry.
They change the colors
Oh my
and
God.
adjust some voltages
So-
or something, and there you go. New microwave.
Super pissed me off. That was maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So it was just pissing me off because the microwave was sitting in the fucking cabinets. And every time for the last year and a half, I would randomly go and open the door and go to use the fucking thing and forget that it was fucking broken. And every time it would piss me off so much. Because you just needed to warm something. And it's like, fuck, I don't have a microwave. Like, this doesn't work for the oven. I don't want to put it in the goddamn pan. It's just so annoying.
Do you have a toaster oven?
No, we don't have a toaster oven.
Oh.
I know that's the
To be
simple
fair,
solution.
that really would have negated a lot of this anger, I think.
Well, my oven has broil, which is the exact same thing, but it's more effort than like beep, 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 start.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so anyway, over the last week, I took the trim kit off so that there was a huge hole in my cabinet and the microwave just stood there like a sore thumb and pissed me off.
So it would bug you into doing something about it?
Yeah. But
Okay.
I was already so disenfranchised and annoyed from the experience of trying to get it fixed that I just emailed everyone in town, appliance shop in town, and said, look, this is my microwave. This is the trim kit. If you can find something that fits this trim kit, dope. Give me a quote. If you
Right.
can't, give me a new quote for something that'll fit. And I gave them the dimensions of the hole and so forth, right?
Mhm.
So, anyway, just, man, everywhere in town sucks. They don't want any money. Some guys didn't even read the email. They're just like, yeah, we don't deal with LG. No, I got nothing that works with that. And it's just like, really?
You clearly didn't read the email.
No, because I said,
Wow.
if you can get something that works, dope. If you can't, give me a quote on a new combination that will work. Anyway, it's one place, Coast Wholesale, and I think they're Canadian wide. I think they're really like, they're not your, like, you think of appliance place, because you always think of the Brick and Sears and shit like that, but
Coast is more of a end. They sell generally to like contractors and
contractors,
stuff.
builders,
So
big developments and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
they're
like
not usually selling to end users is
they're-
probably why you're
yeah.
not thinking about them usually.
They have a showroom and they're huge and they have all the same stuff and
Oh, yeah.
great prices. So this one dude there, he freaking emailed me back. He's like, oh yeah, I got a Panasonic, this trim kit. This will totally work. Here, check out this PDF and make sure your measurements are exact.
Proper.
Or proper.
Right.
And it's like, I can have this in 2 days, no deposit. And here's the price. And it was like with a pretty decent discount. So more powerful microwave, better microwave. He got it to me in
Awesome.
2 days. I had to modify the cabinets a bit. I had to use a handsaw and
Whoa, you had to get
Cut.
your hands dirty.
I was a little stressed out because I'm handy, but I'm not super handy. I'm more
Okay.
like handyman from In Living Color. Handy
Got it.
when it comes to construction stuff, except for wiring and shit. I'm good at that. But anyway, I had to cut the cabinet, so I was kind of like scared because I had to like trim like half an inch. But hey, I
Right.
did it.
Awesome.
I did it. It fit. It's level. It's perfect. It looks amazing. I have a bigger, better, more powerful, beautiful microwave. And that was the other big thing of my weekend. And I felt so accomplished. I'm like, I'm a big kid now. It looks
Nice.
pretty dope. And it's nice. The cool thing about this microwave is it also has, it's physical buttons. The other one was like the keypad bullshit. And that's what broke on the old mic. The old microwave worked. It's just none of the buttons worked. You know, the squishy, like, push button interfaces that microwaves usually have?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's what failed. So
Really?
So the new Panasonic has all physical buttons, which are more likely to not fail.
It's a good choice, man. The Panasonic, they make
Oh,
a
it looks
wicked
like
microwave.
it looks even better in my cabinetry than the old one did. Which is
The
pretty.
Panasonics, they make an awesome microwave.
This one has some crazy freaking.
That's what we have currently in our apartment, and my wife had one that we still haven't gotten rid of, even though we have a microwave, because
She likes it so much.
We're thinking that down the road one day we're probably gonna move
Need
from
it
here,
again. Yeah.
and it would be nice to have a Skooka microwave still. But that thing's badass. It's awesome.
Yeah, like apparently it has some technology that it doesn't, it like was saying that it doesn't modify the DNA of the food. It doesn't destroy the food particles. And
right.
It more evenly, it's cyclonic inverter. Like it's more even. It just doesn't cook from the inside out.
Yeah.
Anyway, it does seem like it's a lot better because I heated up a burrito promptly that weekend. And yeah, it was great. It wasn't
awesome.
It wasn't like this is a microwave burrito compared to doing it in the oven, which takes like freaking 40 minutes. Like,
but it tastes way better.
Yeah, like I'm sad. It was like, no, this is totally doable.
Nice.
You know, like it's still probably better in an oven, but
that's why you gotta get yourself the small ovens to sit on your.
I got too much shit on my counters.
Yeah, we have one of those, and
that's my
it's
story.
a pain, but it's great.
Moral of the story, don't ever get a fucking built-in microwave. Because after a year, you can't buy a replacement. And then after 4 years, good luck buying parts. And then you're stuck.
Right. Then you got to replace it.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at a bunch of money. And yeah.
When this one dies, I'm just going to burn the house down.
Wow, that seems excessive.
Yeah, well, that's how annoying it was. I guess with that, half an hour in, we could probably talk about video games. Well, we kind of did. We talked about 3DS.
We talked a bit about the 3DS. So what else have you been playing, Rick?
We can get into the what you've been playing. I know we ranted and raved about Titanfall last week, so probably don't want to talk about it too much. I did play a bunch of multiplayer.
Yep.
Some attrition mode. Which is like the classic mode, which I fully enjoyed. Actually, I bought some stupid Mountain Dew.
You did not.
Yeah, I happened to be in
a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, and this
store.
was before some other prominent podcast was talking about Mountain Dew and Titanfall. For anyone that like double dips and listens to multiple podcasts, we went to a Halloween, like after Halloween party on the weekend bonfire at one of my friends' houses on Saturday, and when we were coming home, my wife's like, "God damn it, I'm thirsty," and she just pulled into the gas station. She's like, "Go get me a drink," and I'm like, "Okay." And I go inside and I grab her a drink, and I'm looking and I'm like, what the hell? 2 for $3. Mountain Dew Titanfall 2. And I'm like reading the package. Double XP and free unlock. I'm like, well, what the fuck? May as well. Yeah, so
I got burned pretty bad by that. And
no, that was the
Destiny with the stupid Red Bull bullshit.
Well, nobody's
buy these and the tabs are already been used. And every single one of them I had to email. And,
it's not that that's not that the tabs were used. That Destiny code generation was cracked. So someone cracked the code for that.
I remember every single one I got. I had to email them and show them that yes, I bought this. This is the can. Here's my tabs.
I may or may not have taken advantage of that loophole and did not buy any Red Bull and got the free stuff. So this, though, is codes under the cap on the bottle, and you get double XP. You get a Coliseum ticket, which I'm not really certain what that is. And I haven't used it. And you could potentially get some unlocks. Both, they're random. There's like 3 unlocks. I got the Mountain Dew skin. One of them is like access to one of the later, like one of the Titans that you would have to be a lot higher level. That like, you just get access to it.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I was tempted to buy more. I didn't. I restrained myself because I'm like, I'll just get there eventually. I don't really need that.
You and I both know that by next podcast, you will have bought a bunch more, right?
I hope not. I'll try not to. So yeah, Titanfall 2 is still pretty freaking awesome. But like I said, for my homework last week, I went and played the Playroom VR.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
How is that?
Robot Rescue is cool.
Yeah? Who did you play with? Your wife? Oh, just yourself?
That's a single player game.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you can play it 2 players, but I didn't. That one you could play by yourself. And it's like third person. You're almost like you're the camera following behind a little robot dude that you control. And it's like a platformer, and he's just rescuing all his little other robots, and he's jumping around in the environment. He can jump up on gusts of air and float around. You can launch you play with the controller and the headset, and you can launch like a grapple hook at certain points, and he could jump up on the rope that comes out because it like almost makes like a zip line, and he can tightrope walk across it to get to certain sections.
So it's almost like you're more or less helping him through the levels and stuff. And
you're there and can interact with stuff as well. And it just was cute. It was short. It was maybe 15 minutes or something.
I was going to say half hour, but 15 minutes is definitely short.
Maybe a little longer, but it wasn't the longest.
But I guess it's kind of like an experience, right?
But it was really cool. And I actually played all the other games as well, and they were mostly all multiplayer. Some of them, I can't remember all the names of them, because that was like a week ago.
They're kind of party game-esque.
Yeah, they are. Like, they're, for the most part, they are party games.
One person has the headset on, other people have controllers.
The other people in the room have controllers to interact with you, or it's just they're giving you hints and clues. Like one game, you were in a saloon, and you had the headset on and a gun, and all the other people that would be playing were like behind the bar, and the bartender was like looking at photos of like wanted criminals, and there'd be like a timer that would count down, and they'd have to describe, oh, he's got a blue hat on, and an eye patch over his right eye, and like a little dimple on his left cheek.
Okay,
these are robots, so they're like little robot faces. But you can't see that information. You could cheat and pull the PlayStation headset out a little bit and awkwardly look at the TV, which I did because I wasn't playing with anyone.
Oh, you're playing by yourself.
That would seem like a lot of fun because you'd be relying on everyone's communication, so it would be pretty funny.
That'd be pretty cool.
And then basically when they describe the guy, you shoot them with like this little gun that shoots like a little suction cup, like Nerf dart arrow at their robot face, and it sticks to their face, and then a little like police robot comes in, swoops in, and takes them away. And then it gets shorter and shorter, and it gets a little hectic, that timeline to identify the guy before they shoot you.
Right.
So that was one game. It'd probably be a lot better to play with people, but I was just going through them all. There was a Ghost Hunter one, which was kind of the same thing.
Oh, interesting.
You essentially had like you were in a haunted house, and they could see where the ghost was hiding.
Oh,
like on the TV, they could see where the ghost was hiding, and they'd have to relay to you in the headset where he was hiding.
Oh,
and then you would basically play like a Ghostbusters plasma and
hide and go seek.
Yeah, you'd shoot him, and then you'd wrestle him in and trap him.
Okay,
that would seem kind of neat. Unfortunately,
I feel like there's got to be one or two of these that I could try out with my wife.
Oh, all of them you can play with your wife.
I'll have to give that a shot.
The robot rescue one is the one that's... I don't know what the other players do, or if they could. I'm sure they could do something. I wasn't paying enough attention. What was some of the other games? Oh, there was one where you were like a giant robot, and everyone else would control the little robots fleeing from you. Basically, you were storming down the road.
You're kind of like King Kong attacking
exactly.
You're
like King Kong going down the road, and you could headbutt and smash the buildings. And they were like on a highway, on like little lanes, avoiding like the debris that would be falling down. And there'd be like little indicators showing where the debris was going to fall. And then at the end, they would kind of fight you like a boss fight. They would grab items and throw them at you, and you would attack them, and they would avoid the attacks. So that one would probably be really fun with multiple people because it'd be more interaction because they would be using controllers. Again, I did these all by myself, so very awkward.
I'm definitely going to have to try some of these out with my wife. It sounds like it would be like a fairly fun thing to try out.
It's definitely more of a, hey, here, try some VR with these very like simple games.
For sure, to kind of get people in, right?
Yeah, and the person not playing is not totally left out, so that's kind of cool. And it's free, so if you have a PSVR, you've got that. Just go download it.
It's already downloaded.
And then
I feel like when I plugged my PSVR in, it automatically downloaded that.
It like asked to download. And then, did you download this, the Jackal Assault?
No, I did not.
So on Friday, when Call of Duty Infinite Warfare came out, They released
right. That's the Call of Duty free VR
it's
thing.
the PS.
Man, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I tweeted about it and posted it, but it's all good, jerk. Anyway,
that's why I know I missed it. You tweeted it. Oh, just kidding.
Sick burn. It was like one of the exclusives for getting Call of Duty on PS4. I'm like, I was kind of split on where I was going to get Call of Duty because I want this VR thing.
Right.
And they just decided, it's free.
Right.
So,
if you have PSVR, you just use it and play it. And
it's basically like the Eve Valkyrie demo, probably a lot longer, but it also just ends all of a sudden.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of annoying, but it's in space. You're controlling and rolling and attacking.
Dogfighting and shooting.
Dogfighting. You've got like your machine guns or like laser guns. And the one thing that's different than the Eve Valkyrie demo is you lock on using your head look. And obviously you're controlling your jet with a controller. So you know, your thrust and brake and yaw and so forth. So you can go in all directions. It's very similar to the Eve Valkyrie. I don't think it looks as good. It doesn't look bad, but the Eve Valkyrie...
It sounds like it controls very similar to Scavenger's Odyssey.
Eve Valkyrie looks like freaking awesome, and this was just... It looked fine. And then it just ends.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, that's kind of disappointing.
Kind of neat, and it just ended. So that's probably why they gave it away free, because it's not really like a full... It's a game, but it's not a full game because, you know, you're doing some stuff and then it's almost identical to, like I swear to God, it's almost identical to Eve. You're just flying around doing some tasks and then enemies like warp in and then it's like you're just having space battles.
Right.
I guess there's kind of a boss in this. You do take down like a big capital ship, which is...
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Probably a little bit more than you do in... No, that is definitely more than you do in the Eve. But that's the Eve Valkyrie demo. I don't know what the whole game is, right? I didn't buy Eve Valkyrie. Whatever. It was for free. It's fine.
I feel like this is some of the stuff we're going to see for the very near future, at least, with PSVR.
Yeah.
They've released a bunch of the quote-unquote games, and I think that over the next probably 6 months, we're going to see a lot of these smaller, somewhat morsel-sized things, experiences, if you will, while developers not only test VR, but also just while we're waiting for more actual games to be developed. And also, I think that it's their way of looking at how many people are buying PSVR and what kind of market they're looking at when they're developing games for it.
It's kind of like getting their feet wet also for the programming, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a way that they can test it out, see what it's like without necessarily spending millions and millions of dollars, you know, developing a game that may or may not actually sell. Because there's only 1 million people that have a headset, right?
Yeah. I think they've been selling pretty good, so.
Sony has come out and said that they're happy with...
They're meeting their projections, is what they said, wasn't it? Yeah.
Of course, they didn't actually say what those projections were or how many they've sold. They just said they're happy with how it's selling. So.
And then you hooked me up with Battlefield 1, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I got Infinite Warfare as well, but to be quite honest, I don't have any real impressions of either one. And I had them both for PC, and I haven't been able to play them. Like, I've played a little... I think I beat the prologue in Battlefield 1.
Right.
And opened up, like, the world map where you can actually load the different big acts, like the real meat of the game.
Yeah, because there's 5... more or less, war stories.
Yeah, war stories.
As they're called. Each one of those is quite a morsel.
Mm-hmm.
I've played 3 now.
Oh, wow. You've played a lot.
So, I've been doing them in order. You can, in theory, do them in whatever order you want.
Once you open it up, you can choose whatever you want.
Yeah, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you could easily do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or however you want to do it. They're each war story is a separate character, and it's their story. I mean, it's their war story. Sort of says it all in and of its name right there. But it's sort of a self-contained story of that character. And some of them I did one where the main character in that particular story was a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And they integrated flying the planes quite a bit. There was quite a few flight levels, which, to be fair, on PC was initially very frustrating. The controls...
Battlefield flying with a mouse and keyboard.
With a mouse and keyboard
difficult.
is dog shit. If there is one thing I feel like they could do better, it is definitely figuring out how to utilize a mouse and keyboard to fly an airplane or a helicopter a lot better in those games.
That's where having the Xbox controller plugged in is handy.
That's exactly what I did. For the actual flying parts, I just grabbed my controller and used it to control the airplane while I was flying around, and that helped a lot.
Oh yeah, it's like night and day. I can't do any flying vehicles in Battlefield games with keyboard and mouse. It's like impossible.
Yeah. Well, the other guys that I play the games with a lot of the times for those particular flight stuff, they all have freaking joysticks.
Yeah, you get the flight sticks, and
they got flight sticks and stuff for all that. I just don't feel that I play Battlefield enough to warrant spending $100 on a flight stick and it being worth it.
Definitely.
So little tip, if you're having problems with mouse and keyboard, definitely plugging in a controller. It made flying the airplanes a lot easier. That was a blast though. So, the first war story that I did was...
It's a tank battalion, isn't it?
Yeah, you're a guy in a tank battalion. Yeah, it was super cool because you're in the tank, you're out of the tank, you get some great stuff. Man, those war stories are heart-wrenching. They're fantastic.
Okay, so that's a lie. I've played more than a prologue. I started that first war story.
Okay.
I almost kind of didn't like the prologue, to say the truth. I was kind of kind of bugged me.
The prologue is not a great indication of what the game's going to be like.
No, it's not.
They throw you into a trench and you're running and you're dying, and every time you die, you're respawning as another soldier to the left, to the right of you.
It's just like a meat grinder.
Yeah.
You die, and then it has your character's name and
so-and-so, their date of birth and the day they die.
Yeah, and then like there's some guy like speaking over the whole thing and narrating this, just the brutality of war and going blah, blah, blah and all this shit. And like you're going along.
I really appreciate though the way that the game opens before you even see any of that.
Yeah.
And just kind of how it explains that this is, based on real sort of stories, if you will, and they tried really hard to do it justice. And obviously there's certain artistic licenses that they took, but they wanted to let you know what it sort of felt like to be in those positions.
This is the brutality and just ugliness of war.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job of that right away. The prologue I did feel was a bit weak, like you said. Then once you start getting into the actual
I didn't know what I was
stories,
doing, and then I just felt like I was doing stuff wrong. And
right.
Then it's like,
and I think that was by design, though.
Yeah.
I think that's what they wanted you to feel like, because I think that's how they felt.
No, that's true. Yeah, I felt very disorientated. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was just lost in the battlefield. Yeah, I guess that's exactly
what they wanted you to feel, because that's what I think that's what a lot of warfare feels like in general, but I think especially back then with the trench warfare that they were dealing with, I think it was, brutal. Just brutal to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was by design. It was a little bit frustrating, and now that we're talking about it, I actually appreciate it more now.
Now it makes sense.
That we're talking about it.
I think I kind of missed that in the moment, but now it's like, oh, wait a second. Now I know why I felt that way. It all makes sense. Idiots. So yeah, that was very different. So yeah, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this game. And then of course I got to the war story. I'm like, okay, we've got cutscenes. Here's the introduction of me and my commander. And
it's super cool. You start off with really cool. A little bit of who this character is, where he comes from, what's going on. He's in this story. This is things that are happening. That is a really heart-wrenching war story.
I didn't finish it.
Great. Each one of those war stories so far that I've done has all been about an hour or two each.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually impressed with the length. The pilot one was great. The second one that I did, I really, really appreciated. It was super cool. He's a bit of a scoundrel. You're not sure whether or not to like him. It's great. It's very cool. I will probably finish playing.
You're more than halfway through. So yeah, you probably definitely finish it by the next time we talk.
Yeah, we're recording this a day later than we normally would, but we have Friday off here in Canada due to Remembrance Day, which is actually super fitting, seeing as I'm playing a game based in World War I, which is what we were, lest we forget, which is. I will probably have time over the next 3 days to finish this game up. So the single player at least. And then I'm super excited to, I want to finish the single player because I've heard such great things about.
I've heard good things.
All of the war stories. And so far.
It's pretty cool.
I get it.
Mm-hmm. You've definitely played a lot more than I have.
Yeah. Playing this directly after Titanfall 2 is interesting because they're so different.
They're so different.
But they're so good. Both of them are so good. I kind of feel like if you pick one or the other and don't play both, you're really doing yourself a disservice, to be honest.
They are very different. It's more like Titanfall 2 and Infinite Warfare. That's kind of like the one where you maybe draw the line and only pick one of them.
And from what I'm hearing, you want to pick Titanfall 2.
For the overall package.
Yes.
Because the multiplayer is a lot better.
And the single player is awesome?
That's what I play. That's what I hear. The single player campaign apparently is one of the best ones in Call of Duty in a long time.
Really?
In Infinite Warfare. I've heard nothing but positive praise about the campaign.
I heard it's solid, but I haven't heard that it's better than Titanfall 2.
I started it. It seems really good.
Yeah?
I don't know if it's as good as Titanfall's, but it seems pretty solid. I want to keep playing it. But
I mean, BT is badass, man.
I haven't played enough of it to really form an opinion. I know I don't like the multiplayer that much from what I played. I've played very little. It's Black Ops 3 multiplayer, and it's a wannabe Titanfall, and Titanfall's better.
Titanfall does it so good. The movement and everything is so good.
Titanfall controls better. It plays better. It's more vertical. It's faster. The Infinite Warfare multiplayer just feels like you're stuck in mud. You don't have as much movement options. Like the double jump into wall running, the levels are not designed around it at all. I haven't played it enough, but I already know I already can tell right away just from feel. It just doesn't even feel as good. I did play some zombies, which is the first time I've ever played any of the zombies.
Oh.
And that was kind of cool. Me and my brother-in-law played that. It's hard with 2 people. I think the levels are really designed for you to play with 4 people. We got better and better and farther. It's different. It's weird. I don't know. Were you done talking about Battlefield?
Yeah, I haven't played any of the multiplayer yet,
totally
so I'm still
tangent.
I'm still getting in on the single player.
I'm going to play more Battlefield, and I'm going to play more Infinite Warfare single player. But
quick PSA before I forget. Speaking of multiplayer games, if you're listening to this right after we release this, Overwatch is free to play all weekend.
Oh, is it?
So, yeah, nice. It's going to be free to play for this weekend from Friday to Sunday. Cool. So if you've been curious on the fence, not sure if you want to, pick up Overwatch, now is your time to jump in, play it, and see if it's something you want to play all the time.
I got too many freaking games.
Just thought I'd throw that out there before I forget.
So we played Zombies.
Right.
I guess it's got like an 80s aesthetic. You're like high school students in this amusement park, and basically you're in like the food starts in the, I guess, kind of like the food court kind of area. And I don't know if you've ever played any of these zombies games before. I don't know what they are like or how they work in the old ones.
I played a little bit in, I don't remember which one it was that made you play it at the end.
I don't know.
Was it maybe Black Ops 3, where after you finish the game, there's like a prologue section that essentially made you play you play a zombie mode till you die, and then they say, hey, you can play more of this now, you've finished the game, blah, blah, blah. And that's really the only thing I played out of the zombie stuff, because I don't know, it just never really resonated with me. I didn't feel like it was something that
it's definitely not a single player thing. If I like playing it single player would be pretty lackluster. I think the fun is teaming up, because when the shit gets real with all the floods of zombies coming in. But basically, it starts slow and steady. This area we're in, there's basically like 4 areas where the zombies can shamble their way into the area, and you can actually board up the windows and the doors, which slows them down. And the whole time you're killing zombies, you're getting money. And in the area that we're in, there's a couple guns that you could buy. There's like a burst fire pistol and an old school, those World War II rifles. I don't know what they're called. The name's totally blank in my mind. But the one that's like has the clip where you shoot like and then clink, the clip like pops out the top, makes that like metal clicky sound.
M1
Garand, is that it?
Yeah, the M1 Garand.
Maybe that's it. And it does that really cool sound when the clip's empty, when it pops out. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Anyway, there's that and that gun, and then in the section, you can hold the fort for a bit, and then it gets a little rough. The area is a little too tight for the amount of zombies that start flooding in. But as you earn money, you can open the next section, and then it opens up into another area. It gets much wider, and then there's like 3 different paths you can go, and it costs money to open up the different paths. And depending which way you go, opens up different weapons that are available, different power-ups, different little secret stuff that you can interact with in the map. So it's not just one area, it's like a evolving stage, which you can all kind of choose your own adventure. Meanwhile, the whole time zombies are spawning and coming at you from different ways, and you're getting better weapons as you go along. And we got pretty far. There's like, they come in waves, and when you clear waves, there's like a little tiny bit of downtime, and then the next wave comes. And meanwhile, when there's the downtime, you're either refilling your ammo, boarding windows, or opening up a new section and moving on and exploring.
Interesting.
And we found an area that we got pretty far because just whatever the weapon combination worked really well for the way we play. Right. But it was rough. We never finished it. I don't even know what the end looks like.
Okay.
And the rounds are pretty quick, and meanwhile you're leveling up and unlocking different weapon perks and sights and all the kind of other customization that's in the Call of Duty games for the weapons that spawn in this. So you don't start with like the crazy gun, but when you do eventually go buy it again through playing again, instead of just getting the regular Joe version, you'll get the version with the extended clip and the red dot sight and the better perks, right?
Right, okay, yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of neat. I think next time we play it, I want to play it with 4 players and see if we can get farther. I just kind of feel like it got really tough.
Yeah, like you said, it's probably designed more for 4 players.
I don't know if it scales itself down for 2. If it does, then I feel like we suck. Or it's just a matter of just getting better and knowing.
But if you've never played before, it's understandable.
I've never played a zombies mode, so it's neat. Something different than the regular multiplayer. So, Infinite Warfare kind of has like 3 different tiers, the multiplayer, zombie, and the campaign. I did start the campaign. I don't know how far I am.
Okay.
I've played very little. It's pretty. It's cool.
I imagine it would be on your 1080.
It looks really freaking good. It plays amazing. Everything's cranked. I do like what I've played so far. The characters seem okay. But I'm super early, so.
No. I look forward to finding out how the campaign is once you finished it, and if it holds up to.
Or how it
last
compares.
year was the one. Yeah, last year was really good. That was the one with Spacey, right?
No, that was Advanced Warfighter the year before. Last year was Black Ops 3. I never actually beat it.
Too many games.
Yeah.
They're all running into each other.
Last year's the one with like the little base in the room where you customize stuff and set up your missions before you go on them.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now.
And that one had 4-player co-op. That's the one thing I don't like. This one doesn't have any co-op in the campaign, which is kind of lame.
I didn't play any co-op last year. I thought last year's was all right, though.
Yeah, you liked it. I remember you.
Yeah, I did.
We did play some co-op. I think we did at least one stage or section.
Oh, yes, you're right. This is all coming back to me now. Now that we're talking about it, it's all coming back to me. Yes, you and I totally played some of the co-op together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was pretty good. I just freaking never got back to it.
Yeah, I finished it. I do remember that.
When I installed Infinite Warfare, I was like looking in my Steam library of installed games, and it's like, I have a lot of Call of Duty games. I have them. I have them all except for the first one, because I think I played that one on like consoles on PS3 or PS2 or whatever the hell it may have been on. I can't even remember.
Let's see here.
Or no, that was on 360. I think
the original Call of Duty I did not play. Then I played Call of Duty 2 on PC.
Yeah, that's the one I played the most, like Call of Duty 2 or Modern Warfare 2.
No, Call of Duty 2.
Yeah, that was a 360 launch title.
Then I had Call of Duty 3.
I remember seeing
given to me with my 360, and I played that on 360.
Yeah, because they never.
Don't know if I actually finished it or not.
Because they never went to a Call of Duty 4, because that's when it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
That was called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
That's it. That's right.
Yeah. And I played that on PC, and I've played every Call of Duty since then.
I feel like they dropped 4 now. I think it's just Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Now it's just Call of Duty.
Because they don't show the 4 on the remastered version.
Yeah, they may have. At the time, it was called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
That's true. It's true, because they didn't want to... They wanted everyone to be like...
Because it's still in my Steam library.
Still Call of Duty. Well,
so
I'll talk about that more next week. Definitely Battlefield 1 and Infinite Warfare seem pretty solid, though. I don't think, if you're fans of the series, I don't think you're going to be upset. Of course, I haven't beat either of them to gush like we did over Titanfall, but man, Titanfall was freaking good.
I gotta say, I'm really impressed with how Battlefield 1 looks and how it runs. It runs phenomenal. And I think it may have the best explosions I've ever seen.
The explosions are pretty dope.
They look amazing.
When you blow up buildings with the tank and stuff in that first story there, I'm like, holy crap.
You can also
really feels like you
make buildings collapse on themselves. And there's a few more in some of the other levels when you're playing as the pilot and planes are exploding in air and bombs are getting dropped. The explosions in that game honestly are on a level of themselves. They look awesome.
I gotta play that flying one. That flying one would probably be really fun. That flying story.
It's very cool. Very, very cool.
With that, I'm gonna say we're gonna move into the news, my friend.
That's how we've been playing.
Last week, or weekend that just passed was BlizzCon.
I know. I had some friends that were down there. Those sons of bees.
Stacy and Mike.
It was.
And a bunch of people I follow on Twitter were down there as well. So for those of you who are uninitiated, BlizzCon is Blizzard's convention, celebrating in
everything Blizzard.
Everything Blizzard. Bunch of stuff. I'm not going to go into all of it, but they revealed Sombra, which is the new character for Overwatch. Finally. She looks
pretty cool looking.
Yeah, she looks
pretty cool looking.
She's playable on the public test realm on PC if you want to try her. I imagine
I might actually jump into that and just check it out.
I imagine she's going to be out next week.
You think that soon?
Yeah. It seems to be like a week or two after with stuff like that on the PTR for Overwatch is how it's worked. They announced some new characters for Heroes of the Storm, Varian and Ragnaros. They're apparently pretty different, but also very cool. Really cool thing is they're remaking Diablo inside of Diablo 3.
This is the craziest
And this is
thing
awesome.
that they're doing. This is so Blizzard, though.
And it's free, and I think it's out next week.
Okay, it is free, but not to everybody.
No, if you own Reaper of the Souls. So if you got the expansion.
You have to have the expansion.
I just assume everyone
has.
has that, because if you have Diablo 3, you have Reapers of Soul. Unless you're an idiot.
I don't have Reaper.
Well, maybe you're not an idiot.
So, there you go.
And Diablo has come so far from when it launched Diablo 3. It's so good.
I feel like I need to reinstall it.
Yeah.
I played it at launch, played the crap out of it.
Yeah, it was...
Me and some friends finished it multiple times.
It was okay at launch, but it is such a different, better game now.
And I feel like now I need to go back. I need to get Reaper of Souls because I didn't get it initially when it came out.
The adventure...
Because I think that me and the friends of mine that were playing it, we had more or less burnt ourselves out of it.
No.
By the time Reapers of Souls
came out. It was very
out.
easy. The loot grind was not very rewarding.
And really all you were doing was playing the story mode over and over and over again.
It's kind of like that now, but it's a little different.
Right. So maybe what I'll do is I'll pick up Reaper of Souls so I can play the original Diablo inside of Diablo 3.
Inception. Brrr.
A video game inside of a video game.
Brrr. Those are my Inception horns. Another cool thing that made people very happy was they're bringing the Necromancer back. That will not be free. That's going to be an update early next year at some point. Necromancer.
Really? They're going to charge for that?
Yes. There's no word on price, but next year.
Interesting.
Some more character slots, some other shit, and the Necromancer. Early next year, apparently.
I always sort of thought that was why the Witch Doctor was more or less a thing.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing back the Necromancer, they just brought back the Witch Doctor.
Kind of. I guess, yeah.
Filled a very similar
I honestly
role.
didn't play a lot of Necromancer. That's more for the old school Diablo players. But they always complained and they wanted him. And anyway, he's coming. So that made a lot of people very happy.
Remind me again, because this is, again, it's been a long time since I played Diablo 3. Did they do the cow land or whatever in Diablo 3?
Yes, it was.
Because I know it was in Diablo 2. You could go to the cow realm, and the cows were super badass, and they would kick the shit out of you, but you would get tons and tons of loot.
I don't know what the hell they call it in Diablo 3. I can't remember. I haven't been there in a while. But yeah, it's different. In Diablo 3, it's all like rainbows and candy and colorful clouds and stuff, because remember when Diablo 3 was first revealed?
Right.
All the gamers were like, this isn't Diablo.
It's not dark enough.
It's not dark enough. There's too many colors. This isn't Diablo.
Yeah,
so they kind of latched onto that and made fun of
all of those people
and did
now I kind of want to play Diablo 3.
It's like rainbows and unicorns and stuff, but they're like all evil.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's the secret level. I don't know what they call it though. That's in Diablo 3. It's pretty hilarious.
Now I need to install Diablo 3.
I think the coolest thing that they announced, though, and it's not really a new game or anything, and there's more than what we've talked about. They were talking about, there's panels. There's panels for World of Warcraft, talking about the future, talking about the past, talking about mistakes, talking about successes.
Speaking of World of Warcraft, though, quickly, just because it's quick, they did announce that they were no longer going to be doing big yearly expansion packs, that those were going to be done and they were going to just be releasing content into the actual game
and faster.
Yeah. So I think that's both good and bad. It wouldn't surprise me if 2 years from now they still release another big expansion pack that does something.
I know they said they wanted to do stuff faster, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And there's some StarCraft stuff, like the Nova campaign was coming out. They have, for Overwatch, is it Overwatch? No, for Heroes of the Storm, if you play like 15 games with your buddy, you unlock like a really wicked Genji skin.
Really?
Yeah, if you play like 30 games, you unlock something else. So they're kind of
that's kind of cool. So they're doing the cross.
Yeah, they're trying to
thing.
get people to play Heroes of the Storm and unlock stuff in Overwatch, was kind of neat.
That's a cool idea.
But the really cool thing that I thought was Blizzard's building a professional sports league for Overwatch, the Overwatch League. But unlike other esports, they're not doing the Fnatic and Cloud9 and these ridiculous names that really don't mean anything to anyone. Like, you have your teams you like and you learn them through time, but they're not, besides like the country that they come from, and the majority of them come from like South Korea and other places, they're doing more of a regional thing because they want to have like jerseys. Like, there'll be like an LA team and a New York team, and kind of like the NFL and NBA.
So
and
they're doing it like Major League Gaming tried to do initially when they started.
Mm-hmm. But actually,
where they had teams in cities and they had rosters on those teams,
regional,
et cetera.
Regional with jerseys and then like salaries, and actually you can
it
have...
sounds exactly like MLG when it first started.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of funny because Activision owns MLG, but MLG doesn't do that anymore, I don't think.
No, when it first started, MLG, they had drafts. There was like players that went into pools for various games. There was a set game, like the game lineup for that season was announced, and then they would actually have pools of players for said games, and then the teams would actually draft out of, they had actually set it up like a professional sports team.
Yeah,
and each city, like you're saying, had, this sounds very, very much reminiscent of what MLG had done initially when they started.
If anything, I can see Blizzard pulling off something like this. And I think, I'm pretty positive, I even talked about this a while ago. Either when we were talking about Dota 2 or League World Championship. I don't know if it was this year or last year, and I know we had this conversation on the podcast. I said for me to get more involved with this, I would like to have a team. Like, there was a Seattle team, and then they had a cool jersey with a cool logo, and not some stupid name like SK Telecom, like some mouse keyboard frickin' or Razer idiots. Like, I don't know. You know, I hate all the esport team names. They're terrible. And then I have no connection to them. Like, yeah, they're cool. Yeah, those guys won. I don't know where they're from. Whatever. At least
you also have to remember, though, the problem is that there's a lot of cities. Are you going to have that many teams?
Oh, I'm sure. It's
I don't know. Like, it gets very difficult in a way by having having a team that's, as you say, a generic team, SK, whatever. I'm totally blanking right now on various esports team names, but you know who they are.
Cloud9, Team Solo Mid.
Yes.
There's a bunch of ridiculous ones.
The thing is, though, is that people, it's easy for people to look around and figure out that they want to get behind
the Chicago team.
Yes.
Or the LA team, like I said.
But my thing is what happens if you live in an area? The chances of Vancouver getting one, for example, is pretty small.
Yeah, but then
I'm going to be in the exact same boat as I am right now, where I can just pick one and decide that I like whatever team because it's either closest to me or the players that are on the team I like.
And that's just like real sports, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the exact same thing. But it's not just that too. That helps create regional fans and kind of sets up that whole thing, but they're also like getting rid of this, like, esports is kind of gross in that it's, you've got your what is it, what do they call them, the guys who run the teams, not the captains, but like the sponsors,
right?
They have all their team lives in this house and they eat, live and die and play that game in their little house, and then they go and compete, and then they take the cut of the money. The players don't even see all the money because their sponsor, essentially put them up and gets the majority of the prize money. And, there's been all these stories of Dota players and League players, like, basically not getting paid, and management and agent teams, like, basically taking the money from these guys. So it's also going to legitimize a lot of the stuff and get rid of that like really slimy side of esports, which is really prevalent right now with these giant prize pools.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, and I could see myself getting more into esports if it was more like this. Right now, it's just nonsensical names and teams that I don't have any affiliation with and don't really. It's exciting. Don't get me wrong. Esports is still cool, but it doesn't. I think it needs an overhaul, and I think if Blizzard does, I think something like this could go a long way.
I think right now one of the biggest issues with esports, at least for me, is it's all about the game. If I watch, I don't really play League of Legends. I've watched some of the esports. I enjoy it. It's not bad, but it's not a game that I'm hardcore into. Obviously, the esports that I've watched by far the most is Smite.
Watch Smite, yeah.
I generally, even though I'm not playing a ton of it right now, I will probably still watch the World Championships at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Just because it's incredible to watch these amazing players play a game that I enjoy playing myself and how good they are at it. So with all of this stuff, I wonder, I don't know, for me at least, I can watch a game and I can appreciate it to a point, like League of Legends, but I'm not really ever going to get into watching, even if there was a Vancouver team, I'm not really ever going to get into watching League of Legends.
No.
Because I'm not a big League of Legends fan. So,
but maybe this might bring in some new eyeballs, because it might get some interest, because you definitely have no interest with a team that doesn't resonate to you or has a weird name, but you don't know, right? Like people on the ESPN esports sites and the Yahoo esports sites or the random sports sites, people start seeing, oh, Vancouver has some esports team. I might just have a look at this. But right now, the type of person who's kind of been on the fence or even just had that interest thinking about it, they don't give a shit about SK Telecom or some other them. They're like, I don't know what the...
When did it become SK Telecom? I remember it being SK Gaming's, but...
Just change channels. Like, you know what I mean? They don't care, but it's like, the Vancouver Vanquishers? Whoa, cool. What's this about? That's a terrible name, but you know what I mean?
It's a terrible name. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It might actually get some non-hardcore interest. Like, esports aren't hurting by any means, but it's such a big cash cow that, you know, these guys want to crack into it and get even more people into it.
I think ultimately it's a weird thing because
and it's a business.
When I look at real sports that people watch, lots of people play these real sports, but a lot of people watch and don't play. There's millions of people out there that watch football and have never played American football.
That's true.
And they probably never will. But they watch it like rabid dogs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the same goes for most sports. Basketball, baseball, the big things that we consider sports. Now, obviously, a lot of the people that are super into those are the people that maybe played them in high school and wish they could have played them in college, et cetera, and so on and so forth. But there's a huge market of people that have never played hockey, that have never played any of these, that love watching it.
Yeah.
And I think that right there is where esports hasn't had their aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't figured out how to market an esport to people that have never played it and have them get interested to the point where they actually want to watch it, even though they've never played it.
To a more casual mainstream audience.
Yeah.
Which I think
because
that might
at
work.
the end of the day, like,
I think it would be cool.
I feel like if you watch hockey or you watch football's a bad example, but soccer, again, I think that if you had never played the game, I feel like it's fairly straightforward to understand what's going on. You want to put the ball in that net. The other guys want to keep that from happening, and then they want to do the same.
That's definitely very different.
That's the simplistic view of it, but ultimately, I don't know. I think that's part of the challenge with esports is that a lot of these games
No, it's not
are
as simple
quite
to understand that.
Exactly. They're very deep. So people coming in, they just see a bunch of people running around. They see spells going off.
They don't even know what's
happening.
They don't even know what's going on because
exactly
to them the
they don't know if it's good or it's bad. Who are they rooting for?
In color, yeah.
You know,
I guess that's a hurdle to overcome. But
my point is nobody's figured out yet how to take that and put it into a format even that has legitimized it to the point where the mainstream audiences are getting interested in it. I mean, obviously esports is growing rapidly every day, but not into a mainstream thing. So I'm curious. I think this is great. I don't think that it's going to necessarily blow Overwatch out into a big thing that people really care about.
Definitely not. I don't think it's going to have that effect. But man, it's going to be really cool to be able to get like when you go to PAX and you see jerseys for regional teams, and then you like recognize them. Like I couldn't tell you if someone was wearing an esports jersey or team right now. There's no recognition.
And I feel like part of esports right now, obviously the big ones are the MOBAs. Dota, League of Legends, Smite. Those are the three big ones. Obviously Counter-Strike, etc. I think that if you've been following along with a lot of those, though, the other thing that I find very confusing is there's not a proper tournament structure to a lot of these games. So you'll have an official. Blizzard is having an official tournament here, and then they're having another official tournament here. But meanwhile, in between some of these things that are happening, there's all of these other tournaments that are happening all over the place. And I feel like that is one thing that some of these big ones, Smite and League of Legends, have done really, really, really well, is Relic has said, or sorry, not Relic, geez. The League of Legends guys. Riot, sorry, thank you. Have more or less said, this is our tournament schedule. These are the games. We will be holding tournaments in Europe, in North America, in Asia, in South America, etc., etc., etc. So you're saying, like, I want regional teams and I want to be able to root for somebody at Worlds. Generally, how this is currently working is that North America would be sort of your region. You're hoping that North America takes the world championship and beats down those dirty Europeans, right? That's kind of how it's set up right now. Yeah. That there's small tournaments throughout North America, and then there's crowned the two teams in North America, the top two go to Worlds. And that's sort of how it's set up right now. To try and
but like
do
even
a good job
but even the North American teams aren't regionalized. They're just a bunch of random people.
They are just a bunch of random people from all over.
And the players aren't even from America. The majority of them, they're from all over.
Right.
So they're American teams, but they're not American teams because they have like one American on them.
Right.
Like that's part of the problem too, right?
But I mean, I don't know. Is this gonna change that?
I don't know.
Has Blizzard said that
they're doing something different?
Yeah. No, that's fair.
This is going to be a watch and see. It's just a neat thing. And it's like what I said in the past, and I swear I said on the podcast, was like, if it would be much cooler, because then, I don't know, I could identify, and I might actually be like, well, I want to see how my team is doing. Right now, I don't have my team because I don't care.
Right. And there's a lot of other people out there, though, that love certain players or they love certain teams.
Yeah, but then...
I mean, I see tons of people running around PAX with Cloud9 jerseys on.
But those are the hardcores, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And I'm not a hardcore sports fan, but I know...
Chances are, if you were to wander around outside in the daylight in a mall with a Cloud9 jersey on, most people would have no idea. And you might even get some people asking you, like, what is it for?
Yeah, no one would know.
But I think part of the issue with some of these teams like Cloud9 and SK Gaming and some of these other big names team, solo, mid, etc., etc. The other thing that I think is a bit of a challenge for them is that Cloud9 has teams that play in League of Legends. They have teams that play
all
in
over the
Smite.
place.
They have
Street
teams that
Fighter,
play in Street
Smash
Fighter.
Brothers,
So,
But
they're a brand at this point. They might have some teams that are amazing in some games, and they might have teams that suck in other games. And that's where I think things get a little bit weird in esports, because you would never see the Vancouver Canucks playing football.
Yeah.
You would never see the Vancouver Canucks playing basketball. Those are different teams. But in esports, that's a brand that they've branched out into multiple games.
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of where things get a little bit challenging when you're trying to put together a team, because let's be honest, in real sports, what do people latch onto? They latch onto people.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan made Chicago Bulls an incredible team for almost 10 years in the 90s. People love the Chicago Bulls. The people that live in Chicago love the Chicago Bulls because that's their team.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people fell in love with the Chicago Bulls because the people were on the team at the time, and even still love the Chicago Bulls for who they are now, even though they're not the same team, and even though those players have either moved on or retired,
and
etc.
that's definitely something esports doesn't have, because the players burn out and don't last as long.
And that's
They
part of the challenge.
They don't have Michael Jordans and so forth. So,
well, we did initially. There was some pretty huge rock stars when this whole esports became a thing.
Like, people's alliances with teams aren't the same. They kind of jump around a lot more. And if there was a little more regional structure, I could see that being more prominent, right?
But again, the big thing is you're talking about players that maybe are only going to play on a team.
Some of them only play a
season.
couple of years, or like you said, even a season, and then they're done.
Some of them are done, or some of them move on to another game. Some of them move into another team,
or they just stop playing,
playing professionally entirely.
I think the gist of it is as huge and as amazing as esports is monetary wise, it still has a long way to go. Oh yeah, big time. And the other thing too is what happens when your game starts to fall out of favor. How long is League of Legends going to be the top number one multiplayer online game in the world? It can't. Are they ever going to make League of Legends 2? Well, probably not. But are they just going to continue to iterate League of Legends? I mean, eventually people are going to get tired of it. I think it's going to take a long time. Of course it's going to. I mean, look at how long the original StarCraft was a thing. We're talking 15 years. It was huge. But eventually it did more or less burn out. And StarCraft 2 didn't really take up that mantle in a multiplayer esport type setting the same way that the first one did. And that makes me wonder what happens. Currently, we're on our third or fourth iteration of Counter-Strike, and really every iteration has changed little things and made the game look prettier, but ultimately you're still playing Counter-Strike. The current Counter-Strike Go is more or less Counter-Strike Source, which is more or less 1.6, which is more or less 1.5. And obviously there has been changes, but ultimately it's still at its core the same game. Well, baseball's been baseball for over 100 years. That's true. That's true. Hockey's been hockey for, I don't even know how long they started playing the Stanley Cup. Almost as long. A long time ago. NFL's 30 years. It's weird though, because when it comes to video games, those games have changed not barely at all. Some rule changes have changed just for safety's sake. Those games, for the most part, are kind of like playing old school, the original Counter-Strike. That's how little real sports have changed. But it's interesting to me because these esports, that's a huge challenge as well, as these games come and go. Yeah, patches do change dynamics, and I think the rate they're growing, fans come and go and drop in and drop out, and I think it grows faster than the people that drop out. Just like real sports, right? You're a huge baseball fan for 5-10 years, and then one day it's like, I don't give a shit, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I got different life priorities.
Yeah, that's true. I'll be super curious. The esports thing is super interesting to me.
I want some cool. I just want cool freaking jerseys made by Blizzard because they make awesome shit. Mix up my.
I will be watching the professional Overwatch League closely. I would like to watch Overwatch. I think it would be a fun game to watch.
Mix up my
being played.
Mix up my footy/soccer jerseys with some
there you go.
pro sports team ones. Infinite Warfare Windows 10 and Steam versions don't play together.
This story made me so angry when I read it initially. I could not believe that this was a thing that was happening.
Apparently,
you've got two freaking versions on the PC and they don't talk to each other.
It's like, what?
That would be like saying that the version of the game that you bought for the Xbox One and the Xbox One S won't play together.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I cannot understand how this was even released.
Microsoft said that this was Activision and not like some thing that they imposed with the Windows Store version.
Is this just Activision being so lazy? They're like, well, we don't care. We're going to get so few sales of the Windows 10 version.
I don't know what the whole story is about this because I assume the Windows version doesn't support Steamworks.
Right.
But then Microsoft was like, no, we have multi-platform, but like maybe Activision's like, well, if we can't put Steamworks in it, we're just not going to bother because we're not going to do some new bullshit API stuff to make it work. So, yeah, I guess this is a like, what the fuck? And
I wonder if this is something that'll get patched in later.
There hasn't been an update to this story, so I don't know. Microsoft just came out and said, we support crossplay between devices and platforms for partners who want to enable it. And they're just like, balls in your court, Activision, it ain't our fault. I feel sorry for anyone who bought it because I think the player base on Call of Duty has shrunk, let alone I couldn't even imagine what the Windows Store version is like.
Well, the thing is the Windows Store version is $10 cheaper.
I definitely wouldn't pay $10 less for a smaller player base. I'd be fucking pissed.
So, this is in American dollars. The Windows Store version is $47.99. With the Digital Legacy Edition, which includes the Modern Warfare Remaster, is only $63.99 on the Windows Store. So that's significantly cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
That's significantly cheaper.
Well, my version is Steam version, so I'm not an idiot. Actually, I'm not going to lie. My copy was provided by Activision, so I didn't exactly have a choice in what version they sent me, but if they gave me the Windows one, I would have been like, oh, man. I hope they fix that. That's really shitty if they don't fix that.
Yeah, that was real dumb.
Yeah, real dumb.
I feel like people need to be making a bigger deal out of that than they have been so far. I don't know. That to me is such a big, what the fuck are you thinking? I really hope this is something that we're going to run into moving forward. I think that's what scares me about this story. Is this the fragmentation? Because this is the first time that we've been seeing this type of thing happen.
Yeah.
Because if we're seeing games released on Steam and we're seeing games released on Origin, they still play together. They still work. You can still go play multiplayer with those games and vice versa. So now is this all of the walled gardens? Are they going to start walling each other off? It's going to get really messy if that's the case. I just don't like where the implications of this going are, I think, is what bothers me about it. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope they just patch it in, and it's a situation where Activision was like, look, we ran out of time, but here you go. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
I really hope it's not some situation where they decided that trying to deal with Steamworks and Xbox stuff.
Who knows? Activision might come out next week and say, no, look, you know what? They say it's in our court, but we have to do all this nonsense.
But really, we have to do all this stuff in order to make the Xbox stuff work because it's a play or a Windows 10 game, and we've already got all this Steamworks stuff implemented, so it would just be a ton of work and not really worth it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope that we learn more, and I hope that that's not the case, but we'll see.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
More on this later.
Hopefully.
November 7th passed by us. That is N7 Day. Mass Effect Day. So BioWare came out and released a new trailer for Mass Effect Andromeda. Few details, basically just a teaser trailer, and I think they said you can pre-order like the collector's edition and nonsense. Trailer looks cool. I really like Mass Effect. I hated the ending, but badass trailer.
I really need to go back in and play Mass Effect 2 and 3.
2 is phenomenal. 3 was still a good game, but
the thing is I played 3/4 of 1. I'm not going to go back and play all of that again. I know that. It's not going to happen.
No.
So if I start with 2...
2 is a fantastic game.
I feel like I'm missing out. I really do feel like I need to go back and at least play 2 and 3. At least start there. See how it goes. Who knows? Maybe I'll burn out and
too many
stop
games,
halfway
too little
through.
time.
It's true. It's true.
It's crazy.
I know. But I feel kind of like a jerk going into the new Andromeda.
Not
having played 2 or 3
I
even.
think you can play this because it's different characters, different crew, different timeline. I don't think you have to play any of the other ones.
Yeah, you think this is sort of their way of rebooting it?
It's
in a way, like
it's not a sequel, and they haven't said whether it's a prequel. It's like just a different story in the same universe. I don't think you even have to play any of the other ones.
I thought I read somewhere where it was way off, like in the future or something like that.
There'll obviously be like, tips of the hat to fans of the series.
Right.
Obviously, if you've played the other ones, and also you have familiarity of the races and some of the events, probably. But it's that's why there's Mass Effect Andromeda doesn't have a 4
right
on it. Like
because it's not part of the same.
It's a new thing,
line.
Same universe but different story. I don't think you have to worry about it if you don't have the time. But trailer looked cool. No release date.
It does look good.
Though some people said they spotted retail stuff that leaked that it's, I think, March next year.
I feel like it's so soon to have not seen any gameplay or anything else already. But, I don't know. Maybe it's just a situation where they're allowing some of their other games right now to be in the spotlight. You got Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1 and I don't know. Maybe, but it seems odd that we wouldn't have seen any real gameplay yet. All we've seen is a couple real glimpses of trailers.
I think the word is gameplay is that they're going to be at the Game Awards. Pokemon Sun and Moon.
That's a thing that's happening soon.
Leaks are everywhere. People have gotten their hands on the game. It's in reviewers' hands. I think some other people have gotten their hands through other nefarious methods.
Those dirty rats.
I'm not going to lie. I am in possession of Pokemon Moon.
Oh, really?
And it was not provided by Nintendo.
Really?
And I don't want to say how I got it, but I have the real game.
Okay.
And just because I know there would be an embargo on it, and no one said anything online, besides the fact that they got it, because everyone on Twitter who's gotten it as a games media person has revealed that they've gotten it. That's all I want to say, because I don't want to inadvertently break any embargoes that I'm not beholden to, and I don't want to piss off my relationship with Nintendo, so. So yeah, there's that.
So that's the thing that's happening.
That's the thing that's happening.
Fair enough.
Though I'm pretty sure they're going to be sending me a copy next week. Is what I'm guessing.
Well, there you go.
And then I'll know what I can talk about.
Fair enough.
But I think by the time we record next week, it'll actually be out, so
Okay.
doesn't really matter.
Makes
So
sense.
I'll probably be able to talk about everything. So if you are worried about spoilers, just stay away from reading some shit on the internet. Because there's leaks everywhere. Because those are people who aren't media and they can do whatever the hell they want.
Care.
They don't care.
There you go.
Today, or it'll be the day after when you listen to this, the PS4 Pro's out.
Did you pre-order yours?
Did I pre-order? I went and picked mine up at the store.
What?
I have it. It's hooked up on my TV. And I have, not done anything.
So you'll have
I got
impressions next week?
Yeah, I got I have a 2 terabyte hard drive in my existing PS4. And it's actually really cool. They did it in a way that you could transfer all your content from one PS4 to the other as long as they're on your network.
That's helpful.
And or via a network cable directly, and apparently it's really fast. But
awesome.
I didn't buy... If I was thinking about it, I would have bought another 2 terabyte hard drive. But at the same time, I don't...
Put it into the new one so that you were ready to rock and roll.
At the same time, I didn't really want to buy another 2 terabyte hard drive because that's just more money, and I've spent a shitload lately. It only would have been $60, $80 to get another one, but it's yeah, I have one and it works perfectly fine. It's only a year old because I think I upgraded mine last year. Yeah, because I've only had the anniversary system I haven't even had it for a year because that was last Christmas that came out. So I haven't even had that hard drive that long, so I didn't really want to get another one. So what I got to do is I got to copy all my files from my existing PS4. Thankfully, I'm just under a terabyte because I have an external USB 3 terabyte drive, which I'm copying everything to. And then I can back it up to my PS4 Pro.
Okay.
I did get Dishonored 2. I purchased that. I did not get that from Bethesda, as did no one else out there.
Fair enough.
But I did get Dishonored 2, and it showed up today, a day early for pre-ordering. Because it actually doesn't come out till tomorrow, or Friday when you're listening to this. And it's PS4 Pro enhanced.
Okay.
So, yeah, it runs at 4K, I'm going to assume upscaled. I don't know what other effects it had. I kind of started the tutorial. I'm like, this looks really sharp. It looks cool. It looks like I'm playing my PC on my TV. Because, there's always been that kind of, you can tell when you're playing on a console compared to PC.
Oh,
and I'm like, I feel like I'm playing my PC right now, so that's pretty impressive. I don't know what the frame rate was, because I didn't really play it long enough to get a full feel. I'm going to guess it was 30, not 60. But it looked fantastic. I did then boot up Netflix and launch Black Mirror, which is 4K HDR, and holy shit. Wow. Jesus Christ, did that look good.
Daredevil and...
Black Mirror Season 3 just came out. Luke Cage. Yeah,
Luke Cage.
Everything on the app, on the PS4, everything's Ultra 4K, Ultra HD. Like a lot of the Netflix exclusive stuff is. So I just went into that because the Season 3, I've never watched Black Mirror, and I've been hearing a lot of really good things about it, and I think I have to go and watch it. But I just started playing the first episode of the Season 3 that just came out. And at first I'm like, okay, this is crystal clear. This looks really good. I can tell the difference. This looks better than HD TV. This is laser crystal clear picture. Okay.
Wow.
I can tell a difference here. Someone else might not be able to tell a difference because they don't have as good eyes. I don't know, but I can really tell a difference. And then this one scene, she's running down the street and the sun's glaring, and I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm outside right now, and this is real life.
Wow.
Even more so than that, when you saw your really good first 1080p HD picture, this is holy shit.
The first time you watched a true Blu-ray on your PS4 or whatever.
It was fantastic. And then it transferred to a scene where she was inside her bathroom, this character. I don't even know what's going on. And she's like taking pictures or selfies in the bathroom mirror. And I'm like, I feel like I'm looking at her like I'm in this bathroom and this is real life.
And it almost feels a little bit dirty.
It was really crazy how good it looked. I'm like, holy shit. Like, this is like my true first experience with like 4K HDR video. And then, of course, obviously, when I play some more Dishonored and play some of these games and transfer all my shit over, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a pretty same impression for the games going forward. But the system looks nicer in reality. Like
I thought it looks pretty good.
I thought it, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I thought it looked kind of chunky. Like I don't know. I felt like I didn't really, it looked good, but I'm like, I like how the other system looked. And anyway, it looks a lot better in real life.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
It's barely any bigger than the existing PS4. It's still smaller than an Xbox One. It's probably, I don't know how it compares to an Xbox One S, but I think it's about the same, if not a tiny bit smaller still.
Yeah, it's not, I was impressed. I was looking at the various size comparisons recently that have been coming out, obviously, as more and more media gets their hands on it. And I was quite surprised with how much it's slightly bigger than the original PlayStation 4.
Like slightly, like barely, yeah.
Yeah, but I was really impressed with how close in size it was to that. It's a little bit, I think it was a little bit wider and a little bit longer. Obviously, it is a little taller. But overall, it was not that much bigger than the original PlayStation 4.
No.
Which was pretty impressive when you're thinking about it.
I say no, I meant to say yeah. Anyway.
Although in all honesty, I don't really know how much extra space they need to put in there.
Because they slimmed down the PS4.
Yeah, it's really just an overclock on a couple of things in a new graphics processor. And really I guess they did add an extra gig of RAM to it as well to run the system off of now.
Yeah, it's not
That's actually one thing that I really like about the PlayStation 4.
RAM.
Is that they can run the OS in that 1 gig of RAM all by itself essentially now, and it leaves 8 gigs for the actual game to use, which is sweet.
So
that's really cool.
We're talking about the PS4 because before I forgot, we talked about the games coming out last week.
We went over a whole bunch of them.
Published a bigger list of games with PS4 Pro support, and they didn't break down all of them, but there's like 39 plus or 40 plus games now that have been updated, have support, and are like ready to go. And there's a lot of games here. I have a lot of updates to download. Yeah, so I just basically set it up, saw some awesome video on Netflix. Next week I'll really have more impressions. But I am definitely pretty happy so far. I am not upset.
Awesome.
On the plus side, I sold my old TV too, which was pretty sweet. So that pretty much pays for it. That makes me very happy. I had my old TV still from when I upgraded, and I finally sold that. So I've had that like sitting in my dining room.
Oh, okay. That's
and
funny.
I'm like, God damn it. I was like almost ready to just like give it away. And some guy just texted me out of the blue today. He's like, will you take this much if I like it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he came and he saw it and he's like, I had a set-top box hooked up to it just so I can show that it works, and here's what HD looks like on it. And he's like, yeah, it looks great. Yep. How long have you had it? And I'm like, 6 years. He's like, okay, here you go. Can you help me put it in the car? I'm like, yeah.
Sure.
Get the fuck out of here. That's it for news. I deleted some other shit because like we're getting a little long in the tooth. Tomorrow you might be in the crowd fighting to try and get one of those mini NESs. I don't know. In Canada, no one opened up pre-orders. In America, I think some places opened up pre-orders, but those instantly sold out. So good luck to anyone trying to get one of those. I'm an idiot and I'm going to try and get one, but if I don't get one, I'm going to be effing choked because no one opened up pre-orders.
I'm debating if I want to walk over to EB.
Well, apparently REB's, I know one of the managers, and he said they were getting about 30, like at all of their stores in town here.
Right.
So, but I don't know if there's going to be lineups out the door, right? Because they're doing first come, first serve. There's no pre-ordering. So,
right.
How crazy is it going to be? It seems...
Well, then maybe I'll walk across the street to the Best Buy.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty crazy. Like, how many are Best Buy going to have? I do know, and this is going to help no one listening to this, that Best Buy pre-orders go live at midnight Pacific time on Thursday night. So how long that's going to last, or their server's probably going to freaking crash.
Right.
Anyway.
That seems really useless for something that comes out the next day.
Yeah, well, if you get one online, then it's going to ship to you right away, and you don't have to bother going to deal with that disappointment.
I guess, yeah.
And they just posted that on their blog, so they didn't even post that on their Twitter, so not that many, well, maybe only the most hardcore will know, so I might just do that, because I'm usually up till midnight anyway. I think we're getting a little long. I think we're going to have to save this stuff till next week.
Oh, boy.
So for our free
we talked about
section,
the one anyways, so.
Yeah, we talked about 3DS hacking. Dane got a Google Pixel XL, jackass. And
there's a whole story that goes along with that.
Yeah, so. Let's save that for next week, because we're almost 2 hours here.
Oh, and just as a quick, go see Doctor Strange.
I'm seeing it
fucking
I'm seeing it
awesome.
Tomorrow. So then we can both talk about it next week.
I'll just say, for me personally, I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan, so I'm going to preface this with that. Probably my favorite superhero movie since Deadpool.
Oh, wow. That's really high praise.
I loved it. I thought they did an awesome job.
Cool. I'm looking forward. I bought my tickets, assigned seating.
And stick around till after the credits. There's 2. There's a little something. And then there's a sort of mid credits, and then there's a little something else at the very, very end. So
nice. Yeah. I will definitely.
We saw it in IMAX 3D, and I want to go see it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna go see it. Me and my buddy are gonna go watch it in IMAX 3D.
Awesome.
Sweet. So we can talk about that next week, and we'll talk about your Google Pixel next week as well. So, yeah, I'm going to say that's an episode, guys. Sorry, we kind of went off the deep end on some stuff here. It's a long episode, but we appreciate and love you for listening. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at RickF, no K, RICF.
And as usual, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Dane Cody, at DAYNECODY.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube. Share us with your friends and review us on iTunes. I don't think we've gotten iTunes review in eons. But seriously, if a couple of you guys just, even if you don't have iTunes, download it. I think if you just even get a couple reviews in one day, it seriously bumps you up in their algorithm, big time. We got a decent amount of listeners. I'm pretty happy with the amount of listeners. So thank you people out there for listening.
Awesome.
But we can use more. We got to corrupt more people. I've got to drop more F-bombs in people's living rooms while they're doing chores with their children standing around and going, God damn it, Rico.
Excellent.
Try not to swear, but I can't help it.
All right, let's fucking get this thing done.
Until next week, I'm going to say we're out.
Later.
Peace.